this hour on VTV News. The push to remove dilapidated housings and improve social welfare. And Vietnam promotes climate finance initiatives.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good morning. It's currently 8 a.m. local time and you're watching VTV News. I'm Thuy Linh bringing you the latest updates. Now, State President Nguyen and his high-ranking delegation arrived in Santiago on the afternoon of November the 9th local time, beginning their official visit to Chile at the invitation of Chilean President Gabriel Boric. This marks the first visit to Chile by a Vietnamese state president in 15 years. The trip aims to boost the Vietnam-Chile comprehensive partnership, making it more intensive, practical, and effective. During the visit, State President Nguyen will attend an official welcome ceremony, hold talks with President Gabriel Boric, and witness the signing of cooperation documents between the two countries. In recent years, Vietnam-Chile relations have flourished, particularly in trade. Two-way trade turnover has quadrupled in just over a decade, reaching $1.5 billion last year. Now, State President Nguyen and his delegation visited the Vietnamese embassy and the Vietnamese community representatives in Chile on the evening of November the 9th local time as part of their official visit to the Latin American nation. He praised the efforts and achievements of the embassy and the overseas Vietnamese community in implementing the party and state's foreign policy to boost the continued development of the Vietnam-Chile comprehensive partnership. Regarding the situation in Vietnam, the state leader affirmed that despite complex global political and economic developments, Vietnam, under the party's leadership, has maintained macroeconomic stability, controlled inflation, ensured major balances of the national economy and socio-political stability, and strengthened national defense and security. He emphasized that the party and state always care for and consider the overseas Vietnamese community an inseparable part and resource of the Vietnamese nation, as well as an important factor in reinforcing cooperation and friendship between Vietnam and other countries. Chairing the first meeting of the Central Steering Committee on the Eradication of Temporary and Dilapidated Houses nationwide in Hanoi on Sunday, Prime Minister Phie, who is also the head of the steering committee, said the program is a people-centered plan which must be carried out with a sense of high responsibility. This determination will be a decisive factor of the movement in the coming time.
At the meeting, the Prime Minister emphasized that the party and state have always paid keen attention to housing settlements. This is especially the case for people with meritorious services to the revolution, poor households, and households affected by natural disasters, because it is a key task of social security and sustainable poverty reduction. Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh asserted that to achieve the goal of eliminating temporary and dilapidated houses nationwide in 2025, 5 years earlier than the initial target, it is necessary to focus on mobilizing social resources combined with state resources to complete all three tasks in 2025. The tasks are establishing housing support for revolution contributors, establishing housing support according to national target programs, and eliminating temporary and dilapidated houses for people nationwide.
The construction of individual houses can be handled by communes. If there's a need for a cluster, for example, the district must be involved. We need flexibility in matters such as land allocation. A general principle is that if there is no land dispute, the commune can make decisions within its authority, and this goes for the district too. Financial resources should be mobilized comprehensively, whether from central and local funds, national target programs, poverty reduction programs, social contributions, or mutual aid.
the Prime Minister agreed to set up steering committees for the eradication of temporary and dilapidated houses at the provincial, district and commune levels. And the establishment must be completed before November 30th this year to organize synchronous implementation from the central to local levels. The government leader requested the People's Committees of provinces and centrally run cities focus on organizing and synchronously and drastically deploying housing support for people with meritorious services, and the emulation movement, eliminating temporary houses and dilapidated houses nationwide in 2025.
National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn attended the National Great Unity Festival in Lời Village, Thanh Hương Commune, Thanh Liêm District in the northern province of Hà Nam on November 10th. The event marked the 94th anniversary of the traditional day of the Vietnam Fatherland Front, or VFF. The National Assembly Chairman took this opportunity to present gifts to officials and local people of Lời Village, including 25 policy beneficiary families, poor and near-poor households, and the local study promotion fund. Hà Nam has achieved impressive economic growth, recording a 10.89% increase in gross regional domestic product from January to September, the highest in the Red River Delta and fourth nationwide. The province's budget revenue surged to nearly 10 trillion Vietnamese dong, or $400 million, a remarkable 24.9% increase, while the poverty rate dropped to just 2.01%. These achievements have earned Hà Nam recognition as a New Style rural area. The National Assembly Chairman suggested expanding successful models that promote sustainable poverty reduction and mutual support, while effectively using the Poor Social Welfare Fund. The aim is to eradicate poverty in the village and improve the quality of life for families who have already escaped poverty. The National Assembly is scheduled to conduct a Q&A session this week for ministers and heads of agencies on issues relating to three sectors: banking, healthcare, and information and communications. The session is one of the highest forms of oversight by the legislative body. Voters will expect the session will bring explanations for existing challenges, bottlenecks, and solutions for more effective governance.
Issues including state management of the gold and foreign exchange markets, support for citizens to borrow money after the pandemic and Typhoon Yagi, and ensuring sufficient medicines and medical supplies will be raised. These are areas of concern for voters and citizens ahead of the National Assembly's Q&A session.
I believe the most significant expectation of voters for the State Bank of Vietnam is to create mechanisms to directly refinance sectors that genuinely need support to drive new growth.
There has been a flood of low-quality functional foods on the market, with many products misleading consumers. Voters hope the Ministry of Health shall strengthen inspections and quality control in this area.
Information and communications is also a sector of interest, especially with the ever-changing development of the Internet.
There has been a flood of low-quality functional foods on the market, with many products misleading consumers and negatively impacting our health. Voters hope the Ministry of Health shall strengthen inspections and quality control in this area.
We expect the questioning process to be efficient and direct and coincide questions. This would help ministers to present solutions to address current issues facing the economy, citizens, and businesses.
Taking place over 2 days, the session will continue to follow a quick question, concise answer format. Each deputy's question will last no longer than 1 minute, focusing on a single issue. Debates will be limited to 2 minutes, and each response will be capped at 3 minutes per question. Ministers will participate in the explanation under the direction of the session's chairperson.
Welcome back to VTV News. The 29th Conference of the Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, or COP29, is scheduled to take place in Azerbaijan on Monday, November the 11th. This event is being held as a climate finance conference, with nations aiming to raise at least $1 trillion annually for climate initiatives.
After 30 years of farming shrimp in mangrove forests, Sun has been guided to change his methods. He now digs ponds and nurtures shrimp larvae for about 20 days before releasing them into the wild.
I raise shrimp in my ponds for about 20 days before releasing them into nature. This way, I can control the quality.
This initiative is called nature-based adaptation. It aligns with efforts to attract financial resources to the agricultural sector, which is recognized as Vietnam's second-largest greenhouse gas emitter. In industry, energy-saving and low-carbon initiatives are also being strongly promoted. With modest initial funding, businesses can transition to reduce emissions and attract more green capital.
Localities and businesses that commit to sustainable transitions, such as adopting green or renewable energy, will find more opportunities available to them.
While global resources are prioritizing emission reduction initiatives, Vietnam urgently needs funds for climate adaptation. This is a key issue for Vietnam's negotiating team as they prepare for COP29.
With my own ponds, I've gained an advantage in farming. Traditional methods were vulnerable to climate change. I raise shrimp in my ponds for about 20 days before releasing them into nature. This way, I can control the quality.
By 2030, Vietnam aims to reduce its total greenhouse gas emissions by 43.5% with additional international support. This target is nearly triple the current plans without such support. Promoting green finance initiatives is crucial in achieving this ambitious goal.
Open to the public for the first time earlier this month, the Vietnam Military History Museum has quickly emerged as a must-visit destination for thousands of visitors eager to explore the nation's proud history. With its newly expanded exhibits and modern designs, the museum offers a powerful look into Vietnam's history and the resolve of the People's Army.
During their visit, this student and her family were captivated by the sight of the MiG-21, a national treasure. Marked with 14 red stars, this legendary aircraft symbolizes the 14 enemy planes it downed.
I love history, and being here gives me just the opportunity to learn so much about it.
For Theo, a former soldier from the 316th Division, the visit was especially emotional. Despite his old age, he and his wife arrived early to see historic Tank 843 that famously penetrated the Independence Palace in Saigon in 1975.
I was part of the engineering unit that cleared the path for this tank. Seeing it as an exhibit makes me emotional.
The museum spans 6 thematic sections, each presented in an immersive, open layout design that allows visitors to feel as though they are stepping back into history. One of the standout attractions is the 45-meter Victory Tower, representing the milestone year of 1945, the birth of the Democratic Republic of Vietnam. Nearby, displays of military equipment used by the Vietnamese forces demonstrated the courage and determination of the People's Army through 2 resistance wars.
We have every right to take pride in our mighty power as a nation.
The young generations who come here to immerse themselves in history lessons will be the very people who contribute to its future archive.
Each step through the museum's spaces is a profound reminder of the sacrifices made by generations who fought for independence and peace. For today's youth, it's a reminder to appreciate the value of the peace they now enjoy.
And up next is the weather forecast. And that's the end of VTV News. To rewatch our program, you can download VTVgo from App Store or Google Play, or visit our YouTube channel, VTV4Go. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again at 3 p.m. local time.